Today, we're delving into one of the darkest moments of the Battle of the Bulge, a chapter that forces us to confront the brutal realities of war, a thin line between combat and atrocity. We're talking about the Malmédy Massacre. It was December 17, 1944. The Ardennes offensive, what we now call the Battle of the Bulge, was in full swing. Near a crossroads just south of the Belgian town of Malmédy, a column of American soldiers from the 285th Field Artillery Observation Battalion encountered the lead elements of Kampfgruppe Peiper, an elite German SS armored unit. The American unit, lightly armed and caught by surprise, was quickly overwhelmed. What happened next is where the story turns from a battlefield surrender to a war crime. Over 100 American prisoners were gathered in a field near the Bognes crossroads. Accounts from survivors are harrowing. Without warning, the German troops opened fire on the unarmed prisoners. Imagine the sheer chaos and terror. Men who had just surrendered, expecting to be treated as prisoners of war according to the Geneva Conventions, were suddenly fighting for their lives again, but this time, they had no weapons. Some fell immediately, others feigned death, lying motionless among their fallen comrades, praying the shooting would stop. Some tried to run, seeking refuge in a nearby cafe, but they were pursued and killed. In the end, at least 84 American soldiers were murdered in that field. A handful of men miraculously survived, escaping the initial volley and the subsequent mopping up, where SS soldiers walked among the bodies, finishing off anyone still showing signs of life. These survivors would later provide the crucial, chilling testimony that brought this atrocity to light. The news of the massacre spread like wildfire among Allied troops. It had a profound and immediate impact. For the American soldiers fighting in the frozen forests of the Ardennes, the story of Malmédy wasn't just a headline, it was a warning. It steeled their resolve, transforming the battle into something deeply personal. Orders were issued, some explicitly stating that no SS troops were to be taken prisoner. The rage was palpable. The fight for survival became a fight for vengeance. This event raises profound and difficult questions about the nature of warfare. What pushes soldiers to commit such acts? Kampfgruppe Peiper was under immense pressure. They were the spearhead of the German offensive, with strict orders to advance rapidly, bypass resistance, and not be slowed down by taking prisoners. Their commander, Joachim Peiper, had a reputation for ruthlessness forged on the Eastern Front. Was this a calculated act of terror, a result of brutal indoctrination, or the consequence of orders that implicitly, or perhaps explicitly, sanctioned such behavior? The historical record is complex. Peiper and his men were part of the Waffen-SS, an organization steeped in a fanatical ideology that viewed their enemies, particularly Americans, with contempt. They were trained for shock and brutality. The pressure to maintain momentum at all costs likely created an environment where the rules of war were seen as an obstacle. The question of whether there was a direct order to execute the prisoners remains debated by historians, but the outcome is tragically clear. The responsibility ultimately lay with the commanders who fostered this culture and the soldiers who pulled the triggers. After the war, the Malmédy Massacre became the focus of one of the most significant war crimes trials held at Dachau. Joachim Peiper and over 70 of his men were prosecuted. The trial was fraught with controversy, with accusations of procedural irregularities and coerced confessions. Nevertheless, many were found guilty. Peiper himself was sentenced to death, though his sentence was later commuted, and he was eventually released. The legal aftermath was messy, highlighting the challenges of achieving perfect justice in the wake of such widespread conflict. But the legacy of Malmédy endures far beyond the courtroom. It stands as a stark reminder that even in a just war, humanity can be lost. It forces us to examine the ethics of combat and the importance of accountability. The Bognes Crossroads is now a memorial site, a quiet, somber place that invites reflection. It honors the victims and serves as a permanent lesson or warning against the dehumanization that allows such atrocities to occur. When we study events like the Malmédy Massacre, we're not just looking at military strategy or historical dates. We're looking into the heart of human conflict. We're remembering the individuals who lost their lives, not as statistics, but as soldiers who were sons, brothers, and husbands. Their story is a crucial part of our understanding of World War II, a solemn reminder of the price of freedom and the fragility of the rules we create to govern our worst impulses. It compels us to remember, to learn, and to strive for a world where such events are never repeated. Thank you so much for joining me for this difficult but important story. If you found this video informative, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into history. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care.